Hello, everyone out there in Radio Land. This is Zan Marsh with Avian Paragraph. Welcome to the show. Join with us today, as always, is the bird lover I know and perhaps love. Martin Salinas is here. Hi, Martin. How are you today?
Doing just great, Sam.
And birding pro, Timothy Lequi, actually, interestingly enough, is going to be joining us. Tim?
Well, hey there, Zan. It's a pleasure to be with you again.
Yeah, well, it's a pleasure to have you here, as always. And actually, my niece, Zoe Cupp, is here. Zoe, thanks for joining us in the studio.
It's really good to see you, Uncle Zane, and also good to see my new fellow uncles.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, they aren't part of the family, but we'll, again, we can talk about this sort of personal stuff off air a little later. So,
okay.
All right. Tonight's going to be a very interesting episode, as well as kind of a fun episode. We're kind of breaking the mold. A lot of people have been talking to us about this new bird to join the flock called the chickadee. There are a lot of chickadees out there now. Martin, have you heard anything from, because on our website I've been getting a lot of people asking, when are we doing the chickadee episode? I'm not sure, have you seen that at all? Or?
You know, Zan, I tend to just look at the unread emails, and I think you do check our email account so frequently that I rarely have to see any unread emails. They're generally read by the time that I do log on.
Yeah, I'm pretty vigilant to go in there and get those emails and read them, and it's what I like to do. So I do appreciate you letting me know that you're only checking them unread. Again, this is another thing that we can talk about after the show. It's more of a personal thing between the two of us. Tim, do you use email?
From time to time I do. I can get down with the email every now and again.
www.tim.com.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So Zoe, a lot of the younger kids now, I'm noticing they aren't using their email to communicate online in a virtual space. They're generally using some of the other social media platforms. My favorite, of course, Twitter. Is your experience with these social media platforms very interesting, or is that not interesting?
I don't find it to be too interesting. However, I have heard of Twitter before, and I really like TikTok. I don't know if you've heard of that before.
I have heard of that. I heard that about that. I don't do the TikTok, but I hear that it's pretty popular amongst the youngsters. So
Yeah.
something that maybe I'll look at in the future. Well, let's get into it today then. We're going to start out with a little segment I like to call Pull Up a Perch. It's going to be we're talking about more personal issues that affect us. Kind of about those nitty-gritty things that you aren't going to hear on air. Those questions that we're going to leave for off-air generally, we're now going to be talking about on-air. So that's going to be the Pull Up a Perch segment. Then, of course, we're going to go into the daily birding news. We've got a lot of stuff out there. We've got stuff on festivals. We have reporting on who has been named the youngest birder of the year, actually. That's going to be an interesting one. And we also have a story about a Belgian wildlife photographer, which is very interesting. I don't know, have you spent any time in Belgium, Tim?
Zan, I've never been, but I've heard the chocolates are quite delicious there.
Yeah. I like hot chocolate too, so maybe I should go to Belgium. Maybe I'll give that a try one of these days. And then, of course, we're going to be doing a book review. This one's a bit risque. If you are listening to this at work, I'd ask that you probably turn it down the volume significantly for my book review. We're going to be talking about something that is NSFW, I think is what the abbreviation, not safe for work. So, Zoe, I'm going to have to ask that you go outside for that portion of the show.
It's pretty cold outside.
It is cold outside, but it's gonna be steaming in here because of what I'm going to be talking about. And unfortunately, it's not for somebody who's younger in their years. Obviously, we want to keep things that are more adult to adults. So you're going to have to understand that, obviously. And then, Tim, you have a birding tale for us this week. Any previews on what that is? No spoilers, obviously.
I really don't like to get into it too much before I start telling the story. It's pretty easy to, give away some too many tidbits.
Yeah,
if I'm not careful.
Right.
But
You don't want to give away tidbits.
yeah, I got something pretty exciting in store.
Is there
for
anything,
the
any
listeners
detail
today.
about the story you can tell us?
I
Here?
mean, what would I just say?
Okay. Well, it sounds like Tim's going to keep that keep you in keep you wondering. What are you going to think about this story? You don't know just yet what to think, but we will think about that later. So, Martin, again, you're going to be thinking about the mind of a bird, which is Chickadee, the bird of this hour. Are you going to bring us into sort of mind of a bird later, I think, at the end of the show? Roll us out with one of those?
Yeah, Santa, and I am looking forward to it because a chickadee is just one of the most precocious little birds that people see in their backyard all the time. So I know that our viewers out there already have a relationship with the chickadee, and I hope not to bring a new relationship, but just to add to the love that I know so many people already do have.
A much-loved bird.
Variety of chickadees.
The bar will be set high for you. Are you thinking you're going to be able to excel to those heights?
Oh, wow, Zan. Well, I love a good challenge, so thanks for putting it there for me. We'll see what I can do.
Not a problem. I'm wondering also, when you do potentially excel to those heights, are you going to continue climbing, or is this mountaintop going to drop and you'll be sinking after this? So something to think about. I'm hoping I'm not putting the pressure on too much for you, but again. So with that, we're going to go into more of a personal place. This is called Pull Up a Perch. Welcome. So again, this is a more casual part of the show. We just kind of talk shop. So it's just us here in the studio. So what's up, Martin?
Well, Zan, what's up with me is that I am one of those few birders in Washington who has said, I know that the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife has said we need to take down our feeders for salmonella outbreaks among finches, particularly pine siskins. It's been, as you very well know, it's been quite the eruptive year for those northern birds.
I knew about that, yeah.
But there is a stipulation in the fine print of that memo that came out from WDFW that if you are a bird lover who's willing to put in the time and the effort to clean your feeders,
Guilty as charged.
every single day, that you can actually keep them up. And so that's exactly what I have done, and I've got to say, my feeders have been going wild. So that's what's up with me.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's pretty cool, man.
Any highlights there, Martin? For you're talking about them going wild. Is it just a lot of you getting any special or uncommon species visiting your feeders?
Tim, I'm glad you asked, because one of the things that's been exciting for me is having a bird that sometimes I'll see this time of year, but I've been having it actually frequent my feeder. And I feel like I'm really getting to know this individual Townsend's warbler. And I'm sure you can appreciate just the stark beauty of a Townsend's warbler with that unbelievably golden yellow set right next to the black on the face.
Such a gorgeous bird.
And so to have that, with my morning coffee almost every day, it's like I forget that there's a pandemic going on.
Yeah. It's good to forget about things that impact you on a daily basis, like the pandemic. We all could use a little forgetfulness in our lives. That's a reminder I often leave myself. It's interesting. I leave myself reminders around my house on Post-it notes. I write, but this is one that I write to myself commonly. Remember to forget. So.
Hey, just don't forget to wash your hands.
Yeah, that's very good. Zoe, so I just want you to know that this is kind of a safe space where you're free to rap with me. I know that your mom and dad can sometimes be a drag, but, I'm your Uncle Zan here. So just, it's cool. It's all good is basically just my message to you. And I want you to take that through your day and just know that I'm here for you. So
I had a question.
Okay.
My dad said when I come down here, I'll be able to go to Birch Bay Water Park, and I wanted to know, are we still doing that, or are we just here today?
I think I think we're going. We might be able to do that, but I'm gonna have to have a caveat on that. We're going to probably do it, but I've got to talk to your dad sometime later, and we're gonna have that conversation together. And it's gonna be good. The conversation, obviously, but I think more so we're looking to talk about what your dad's interested in doing right now, which I'm not exactly sure what that's going to be, but hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah.
Okay, well that was Pull Up a Perch, so really awesome. Tim, I really want to thank you for your part you played in that segment. So with that, we're going to move on to News Roundup. So I don't know if everyone's heard about this story, but the latest story I've heard is that actually a yellow penguin was spotted and graphed. That's what I'm using. It's a short for photograph by a Belgian wildlife photographer. We mentioned this yesterday.
I mean, did we descend into reporting on clickbait? I mean, is this birding clickbait? I mean, I'm pretty sure that's just a leucistic penguin.
Well, I mean, apparently, I read online that this young man, his name's actually Eves Adams.
Was this in National Ottawa Magazine, National Geographic?
Not the first person. So he's actually this interesting because Adam and Eve is the first human publication, and he's the first human to take a picture of a.
Did it come from the Linnean Society?
Yellow penguin.
Again, Tim, you saw the picture. Was this? I mean, what was the organization that put this out?
I didn't see the organization, but yeah, it looked just to me like a, leucistic penguin.
That was a New York Post article, actually, was the New York Post, and they're well-known. I approve of anyone seeking out New York Post's guidance.
Yeah, I mean, you come across leucistic birds every now and again. It's a common pigment issue. Not as rare as albinism, but
Is the story worth the glory?
it gave me a good when I saw that photo.
Okay.
Now, a question it does bring to mind for me that I've actually I'm wondering about, maybe the knowledge is here in this room. Does the condition affecting this bird, that pigmentation issue, I'm wondering if that creates any survivability issues with the bird or mating issues with the bird. I'm curious if anybody knows if there's been any studies done on that.
I have heard a lot researchers propose study of leucistic birds as a potential research project. And I think that would be a really interesting topic, but the problem is that leucistic birds are so uncommon. Actually tracking enough of them down in order to compile an actual data set on leucistic birds, I imagine, would be extremely difficult.
It was funny, though, to see that bird. It was yellow and all the other birds were regular, and it was just walking through the colony of birds.
I'm going to correct you there, Zan. There's no bird on this planet that's regular.
Sometimes I forget, so I do appreciate that reminder, and I'll remember to forget that perhaps in the future. Who knows? So,
but I do think, for a lot of birds, for example, common poorwheel, a bird that really relies on its plumage to camouflage the bird into its habitat. That's how some of these animals survive. That's their survival strategy. If you have pigment issues going on that make you stand out as a bright yellow or pink bird, that's gonna make you a lot more detectable to predators.
Yeah.
So I imagine a lot of these leucistic individuals don't make it very far.
Well, Godspeed to that little guy. Hopefully they will eat all the fish they want and live a nice, long life. Be a strong bird.
Hopefully.
Yeah, so.
Probably not, but.
Moving on to our next story. This one's from WAPO. Turns out a young birder encourages others to flock to nature. And it turns out that Gracie McMahon, a 14-year-old from Rockford, Illinois, has been named Young Birder of the Year. Congratulations. What's her name? Gracie. Zoe, maybe one day you could grow up and be just like Gracie.
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking about the last topic we had, and I actually have an idea about why that penguin is yellow.
Why is that?
So, when my grandpa was about 50, he started getting a yellow beard. So I wonder if those are related to each other at all.
That could be, Tim. Interesting question from Zoe. Any theories? I'm turning to Tim here because he is the pro.
I mean, that's an interesting theory. I don't know how much. I don't think those two things are related, unfortunately. But it's a fun thought.
Well, congratulations, Tracy. Moving on to our next story, we have our spring birding festivals going virtual. Turns out that the Othello Sandhill Crane Festival is all online, so keep your boots on, or keep them off, and keep your socks on, because you'll be on your computer watching these Sandhill cranes. And Grays Harbor Shorebird Fest, also going online. New trend in birding. Martin, anything to say about that?
Well, Zan, really, I think that birding festivals are kind of... It's going to be different. Everything has been different this year, but taking birding festivals online is maybe not as big of a challenge as people might think. I think we'll probably see lots of self-guided field trip options that are going to be made available. And the birding community in general is a pretty self-sufficient one. I think with kind of the guidance of the experts organizing these festivals, I think there's a real opportunity to have a festival that really has kind of a light, kind of a leave no trace impact by dispersing out the festival goers over longer periods of time and allowing those festival goers to really kind of take part in the festival on their own schedule, but still have these virtual opportunities to give a sense of community and togetherness that I think a lot of birders enjoy when those festivals are in person. And I'm sure everyone is excited for, when we get to that point when it's safe to have those festivals again in person. I'm just very, very happy about these festival organizers.
Nancy over here.
just again, really pleased that these festival organizers are placing the safety of festival goers above kind of their desire to hold their event.
You are talking about safety, which makes me think about the hackers out there who might be involved in these festivals. Sometimes when we talk about these Sandhill Crane festivals, you could get those pages hacked. People get their identities stolen. They could change information. For example, somebody could hack into Wikipedia, change in all the information for Sandhill Crane. We're going to lose valuable information on species.
Yeah, I'd be interested to hear what some of these festival organizers, what they're doing with cybersecurity. And I mean, if they're not doing this, I mean, that's a pretty big lapse in security for their events.
I'd say overall judgment.
I actually just the other day had a scare. I couldn't log into my eBird account. I tried.
Yeah, I can't think of a worse fate.
Several times, and it ended up being that I had just forgotten my password.
Oh no!
I ended up contacting eBird and got a helpful email. It did turn out that I had just forgotten my password, but I was able to reset it using that email.
And that leads me actually into an interesting side point I wanted to make today, which is that cybersecurity is essential for our livelihoods. I don't know, I've talked a little bit about my friend, Trevin, who we've spoken at length, we birded together. He was under my employ for a while. Him and Mr. Winger have taught me quite a bit about birding. And he also has taught me about cybersecurity. So we're just going to have a brief segment here where Trevin is going to break us through some new learning experiences in birding. And I hope that you, Tim, and you, Martin, and Zoe, even you, can potentially learn from this video diary that Trevin has given me. So without further ado.
Hi there, it's a pleasure to be here. My name is Trevor. I'll be taking you on this journey today. I'm just a simple pool boy, but as you sit near the pool, you do hear birds. And then you get the opportunity to clean a pool of birders, river enthusiasts, and sometimes bird experts. And that's how I met Zan Marsh, and through him, Mark Salinas, and Timothy Lequi. And I want to thank them for the opportunity. So without further ado, I'd like to present to you Bird's Eye by the Poolside. Oh, hey there, come on down to Bird's Eye by the Poolside. Happy to have you here. Stay as long as you like. I hope you learned something. Just sitting by the poolside, eating my bird's eye. Little bird in the sky, bird's eye. Little bird by the pool, bird's eyes. Ooh, the sound of the bird. Ooh, that's the sound of the bird. Bird's eye by the poolside. Oh, bird's eye by the poolside. Without longer ado, let me bring to you Trevor. Hey, can you get the cat off the stump, please? Okay, I'm kind of busy here. Birding is one of the fastest growing hobbies around the world. You may ask yourself why. It's because it's a fun and easy hobby, and it's a great way to get outside. Also, birds are beautiful and fascinating creatures that can be found in almost any habitat, including urban spaces. If you want to start looking more closely at birds, you're going to be joining the ranks of many famous birders, including John James Audubon, FDR, Albert Einstein, Laura Bush, Jimmy Carter, the Duke of Edinburgh, Paul McCartney, and Margaret Atwood. But if you're not sure how to get out there today, I'm going to share with you my top tips to get you started birding. Birding is a great idea because you can basically do it anywhere, at any time, at any place, at any moment, in any season, anywhere in the world. And I can tell you, it only gets more fun the longer you do it. Now, the first thing you'll need is time. It doesn't have to be a lot of time, but casual out-the-window birding from your home or home office works well, especially at first. Now, however, if you decide that birds are getting you really excited, then you may eventually become one of those dedicated birders who takes long road trips to see rare birds during migration. Now, there's a lot you can learn just right outside your window, especially if you hang up a bird feeder. But it's extremely important to remember the type of food you put in your feeder can determine what sorts of birds will come to said feeder. Consistency is important. Birds are much more likely to come to feeders that have been filled regularly, especially in times of scarcity. And be patient because it may take the local birds some time to discover your feeder. The next thing you'll need is birding equipment. This is another thing that's great about birding. It's a low-cost hobby unless you choose to get real fancy in equipment. All you really need is a reliable field guide, or you could even use an app on your smartphone. I'll be reviewing some nature apps in another video. I personally still find book-style field guides to be incredibly handy. You may also want to set up binoculars, a camera, a waterproof notebook, or even a tape recorder, but none of these are mandatory to start yourself out birding. To start birding, pay special attention to what are called field marks. These are specific colorations on birds that help us identify them at a glance, even when they're far away or high up in a tree. Once you start looking at birds, you might want to record your observation. Many birders keep a life list that includes the date and location for the first time you saw a particular species. There are also many websites and citizen science projects that are happy to collect your birding data. I'm happy to announce that the website eBird contains thousands of bird sightings from all over the world. You can explore records on eBird to figure out which birds you're most likely to see in your area. Then a scientist can use that data on eBird to make predictions about future bird populations. You can also participate in the Big Backyard Bird Count,
and the Audubon Society's Christmas bird count. Although this isn't required, it is nice to have someone to go birding with. Mr. Winger taught me everything I know about birding, and we spent many weekends away watching and listening to birds in the woods. It's just kind of a way to get away from our family members. There are also many birding clubs that schedule outings, and whose members will be very eager mentors for beginning birders. I'll put some links in the description with a few simple bird ideas. Let's try a few simple bird IDs to get you started. A black head, gray back, and orange stomach let us know that this is an American robin. Another fairly common sighting through much of North America has a brown body with a grayish white stomach and a little black sort of stripy thing down the back. Now this shows us that this is an English sparrow. Birds with black and white wings are American goldfinches. And the birds over there on the right, with the blue bags and orange with red stomachs, are eastern bluebirds. Just for fun, we'll do one water bird. This tall grayish bluebird with a slightly darker cap on its head is a great blue heron. Doesn't that seem easy? I think everyone should go out and try birding at least once, and hopefully this video has given you the knowledge and the tools to get you started. Do you have a favorite birding spot? When did you learn to bird? And did you have a mentor, or were you self-taught? I'd love to hear all of your birding stories down in the comments. And if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Please share this video with your friends, and again, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and the little bell notification icon as well. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Dropbox, eHarmony, 4chan, and Reddit. And you can also read more science on my blog. I'm a periodic contributor on the radio show Blue Dog Blue and The Spider Stand. And you can find me on Dungeon Dwellers on Twitch every other Monday. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
So I imagine that had a bit of an impact on you. Did you learn anything from that, Martin?
Yeah, I think that, good choice on hiring Trevin, by the way, because clearly indicated from there, that is a person of character, good public speaker, someone who knows their stuff. And I think I think you're lucky to have him as your pool boy, and the birding community is lucky to have him as a spokesperson for birding.
Thank you. And Tim, anything that you learned from that video you want to share with us?
That's an interesting question. I'm not sure if I learned anything new per se. I will say though that, listening to a different perspective, as Trevin's perspective was, certainly. Maybe didn't teach me anything new, but perhaps expanded my my horizons.
Sure.
And maybe I'll be a little bit more open to other other approaches to bird identification.
Very cool. Well, and Zoe, you must have learned some things from this too as well, huh?
Yeah, absolutely, Uncle Zan. I think the thing that I learned about the most is that he doesn't just clean pools. Yeah,
that is an essential feature. I think of the video that he kind of brought into focus. I think was the multi faceted approach he takes to both maintaining aquatic environments, as well as his relation to the world that holds us so close to its bosom, which is this world of birds that we seem to enjoy so much. Okay, so now moving on to our next segment. It's on the chickadee, Everybody's been asking about this one as I was talking about the chickadee. Got anything to say on that, Martin? Or
Oh, absolutely, Zan. The chickadee is, while one of the most ubiquitous and common backyard birds, is nonetheless one of the most fascinating birds in North America. For starters, one of the things that I love about
they're
the
cute little
chickadee-
birds.
I just love that the chickadee has a unique way of communicating that both other chickadees listen to, other birds, and for those in the know, other birders can listen to as well. The chickadee.
Also, non-birders too. Though.
It is true. The chickadee will actually announce the level of danger that it perceives in an area with the number of D's in its namesake call. So when you hear a chickadee go chickadee dee 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 dee, count the number of times it says D, because that's kind of like the threat level it's perceiving. So a simple chickadee, chickadee dee, that means things are pretty safe. But if you ever hear a chickadee going chickadee dee 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 dee, you know
It's saying, don't come over here, huh?
that chickadee is definitely perceiving some danger.
Yeah.
But here's the catch: that danger could be you.
Oh, very interesting. That's something I've kind of lost awareness of, is that my being in an area where birds are sometimes impacts them.
It's true. Even the best birders who tread lightly on the landscape, their presence is acutely noticed by birds, especially in areas that aren't heavily birded. So we can see this, for example, while heading out into a wilderness backcountry environment. Birds may scatter really before you even get to where you can observe them, versus birding somewhere like Central Park in New York City, where these birds have for generations been accustomed to people actually recreating and bird watching nearby.
I've
So
noticed-
just something to think about.
When I go out bird watching, a lot of times I'll enjoy it when the birds scatter and they all move and you get to watch them in flight. It's kind of a fun little feature.
And while you say that, Zan, I do want to kind of negate that by saying that flushing birds is never something that we should enjoy or strive for.
Tim, any notes on the chickadee? I know you've seen quite a few birds, and I wanted to take this point in time to award you our #1 birding expert on your #1 eBird notification. Tim is actually 2020's #1 eBirder
In Thurston County.
in Thurston County. So, but congratulations.
Oh, thanks.
Congratulations, Tim. Quite an achievement.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good year. Saw a lot of birds.
Would you say it was a big year?
No.
Okay, and moving on, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Avian Paragraph. Here I am, Zan Mars, sitting in the studio with a couple of knuckleheads, about to go over my latest birding book. Now, I used to own a bookstore, Dwight's Many Cellars, over in Seattle, Washington, for those in the know. No longer do I operate the bookstore. Books are kind of becoming a way of the past. You know,
Bit antiquated. Oh, no.
Bit antiquated, yes,
Yeah, a bit
yeah.
antiquated.
Yes, a bit antiquated. But anyhow, I have this really funny, it's kind of a funny book, but again, Zoe, if you could perhaps leave the room. This is actually an inappropriate book, I think, for us to be talking about around people, younger people. So also, I'm going to tell the listeners out there, please turn off your radio for this this conversation about this book. It's not for your ears to hear. How would you describe yourself, Martin?
Well, then I would describe myself as someone both uniquely interested in birds, but also just interested at the level that I think anyone should be interested.
Interesting. Well, our latest book here, the author would actually describe himself as to be a nude birder and former 48 big ear birder.
Did you say new birder? Like he's brand new?
No. Nude. 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 This guy's out there birding sans clothes.
Man, that could get you into a lot of trouble.
Well, it does, because let me tell you, he's a blogger. His name's Olaf. I forgot his last name, but he's a blogger. His name is Olaf. I forgot what his last name is, but he writes up his birding adventures. And actually, it turns out you can get into a lot of trouble birding nude. He was shot at. He's been attacked by grizzlies in the nude, and it's this book is all about his quest to see more birds nude than any other man alive. It's 320 pages. It weighs 1.2 pounds, so it's a hefty book. It's not so hefty. It's not like Dostoevsky's War and Peace that might weigh probably around 3-4 pounds, something like that.
We're trying to load around Proust. I mean, that's just we don't even consider.
Yeah.
Is that a hardback or a paperback?
That's actually going to be a paperback bound book. Some of the reviews are interesting. One person said it rambles. It does ramble quite a bit. The book, the style of prose. Normally we call the Shoavian paragraph, right? Because we're giving you paragraph after paragraph of vital information about birds and the birding community. Perhaps Olaf could get in the know about what a paragraph is, because he does tend to expound for page after page, and I found myself wondering when one paragraph would end, because there was no indentation or clear demarcation between sentence to sentence and subject to subject. So there is that.
And is that something you'd want to write directly to him, or maybe take more of an issue with his editor?
I usually don't review online. I'm not an online reviewer. I mainly just go on, and they call us stalkers online. We'll just sort of stalk the web and sort of shadow what's going on, but we won't write anything. I did happen to read some interesting reviews, though. One person said, good humor, but puns are tiresome. I also agree. The nudity puns, because you have so many bird words where it will be reminded of you of a pun, it could be used in a pun. I mean, we think about these words let's take the title, for example. You got pecker, boobies, several words that aren't appropriate for a polite conversation, but us birders use. I'm thinking of jizz is like one of the words that you probably don't want to bring up in dinner, unless you're dining with a birder who.
Yeah, I mean, in this day and age with the internet and all sorts of crazy content that kids can stumble upon online, you just can't be too safe.
Yeah, definitely. One reviewer, Barbara Tuning, actually said they wanted more birds and less nudity. That's kind of an interesting request. I feel like the bird book does explicitly state it is about a man who birds in the nude. So the expectation of not having nudity is going to be kind of difficult for the author to fulfill. But John Westlake says not for everybody, and I'd have to say that is my ultimate review. I would agree with John Westlake, not for everybody, but a good read nonetheless. So check it out. Again, that's Boobies, Peckers, and Tits, One Man's Naked Perspective. And we'll be back after this break.
E-readers have become all the rage this year, it's true. But as all too many ebook worms have discovered, screen glitches can quickly make your ebooks unreadable. That's why pBooks invented the revolutionary new pBook printer. Simply attach the printer to your e-reader's charging port, and you can quickly and efficiently print all your ebooks onto glitch and glare-free paper. Now, like never before, you can enjoy all your favorite ebook on paper thanks to the P-Book P printer.
Okay, now that we're back, I just wanted to play a quick game. Zoe's back in the studio. Zoe, I have a few of these. Now, you know that, for example, there's a murder of crows.
Yeah.
Right? A murder of crows is a group of crows, right? Am I right here?
You are correct.
Okay. So I'm going to tell you what one of the next things is. So for example, we have murder of crows. I'm going to say a blank of blanks. But instead of one of those blanks will be filled in with what it is, and then let's see if you can guess what that is. So I'm going to say this: it's a cast of blanks.
Storks.
No, I'm sorry, that was falcons. It's a colony of blanks.
Parrots.
No, that's goals. It's a company of blank.
Oh, this is really hard. Could I have a hint?
Think about what you last said.
Birds.
Oh no, actually, that's going to be parrots. It's a murder of. Okay, sorry. It's a pride of blank.
Isn't that lions?
You would think it's lions, and I think it could be, but for birds, it's ostriches. Actually, it's a pod of blank.
I'm gonna have to go with seagulls again.
Pelicans.
Oh.
And finally, it's a parliament of blank.
A parliament of. We're gonna go with pigeons.
No, I'm sorry, that's owls. So maybe we'll play this game again one day and see how you do. Thanks for playing that game. That's the game of that Zan's Game of the Week. Okay, and after that game that we just played, we're gonna kick it off with Tim's birding tale. The time has come for Tim to tell us all about his terrific tales of birding truths, let's just say.
All right. So this last December, I participated.
It gets pretty cold in those winter months.
Yes, it does, Zan. But anyways, last December I participated in the local Christmas bird count, which was a super fun experience. Unfortunately, there were some limitations due to the COVID situation. So
was everyone wearing masks then?
Yes, and generally, more experienced birders will be paired off with some novices, and can teach them a thing or two. But this year, it was just more experienced birders going out and covering an area. And every birder wants to find a rare.
You left all the bird brains at the,
Only the bird brains were participating in this Christmas bird count. Sure. But every birder, the dream is to find a rarity in your Christmas bird count area that you're responsible for.
Yeah.
And so you go out and you try to count every single bird that you can find, which is what I did.
Any rare finds? Or?
So first of all, out at Tumwater Farm Park, out in Tumwater, which is where my birding area for the Christmas bird count was.
Yeah.
We're out there and we're looking at these chickadees, counting chickadees. We got a few chestnut backs, mainly black caps. And then I see one chickadee with far more extensive white on its black crown, almost in the formation of of a separate line, creating a black line through its eye, and so I got a glimpse of this bird, and immediately my head, mountain chickadee. That looks like a mountain chickadee.
Looked like a mountain chickadee, yeah.
And so I get my camera out, I'm snapping pictures, so excited.
Sure.
Found a rare bird in my CBC area.
So mountain chickadees are rare then, I'm imagining.
In western Washington, yes. In eastern Washington, they're a common species, but they rarely travel west of the Cascade Crest.
Got it.
And so, sitting high on top of the world, found a rare bird in my area, and I started looking through these pictures, and, the chickadee, it looks a little odd. It doesn't quite look like other mountain chickadees I've seen before.
Okay.
And so I'm looking at this bird, and, that it's the white above its eye is kind of splotchy.
Okay.
And I keep flipping through until I get another picture from the other side of the bird.
Right.
Not nearly as much white on that side. I come to realize this is just a leucistic black-capped chickadee with partial blossom pigment on top of its head, which gave it the appearance from a distance of a mountain chickadee.
You've got to be kidding me.
I'm not kidding you. So unfortunately, couldn't count a rare bird for that stop. I posted the pictures on eBird, just any unusual variation of plumage I like to document and include in the Macaulay Library. And later that day, we did actually locate a wintering common yellow throat in our CBC area. So we did find a rarity later on that day.
So it sounds like your Christmas bird count went from a dream bird count to potentially a nightmare back to a dream.
I'd say that's accurate. But, being that we had discussed the leucistic penguin earlier, I thought it was relevant and a reminder to birders out there to, be careful. Sometimes things aren't always what they seem.
Yeah, I think that you can apply that. That's an interesting one because you can apply that both to birds and then also to life. A lot of times things aren't what they seem. So
absolutely. I'd say most skills you develop while becoming a bird watcher, you can apply a lot of those into the rest of your life.
I'm writing that down right now. Things are not what they seem. Well, thanks for that, Tim. That was a great tale. Certainly not a tall tale. It sounds
I thought it was pretty tall.
Well, I mean, as in, tall tale, like you're telling a fib.
Oh, yeah, no, that really happened.
But it did soar high. So, in that occasion, I suppose you could say that the height of the tale it soared, but it wasn't a tall tale in terms of telling a lie. So with that, we're going to move on to the show's finale. Right after this break. Welcome back. It's towards the end of the show. Are there any closing notes before we end this show? Anything anybody wants to talk about? Again, I know that we earlier happened to have Pull Up a Perch, but I think we could have maybe end some shows with some rap sessions, just hang.
Well, when I was in the alley, I saw, while you guys were doing that last segment, I saw a few different birds, and I wanted to know if you guys could help me figure out what they were.
Yeah, I'm sure we could help, yeah.
So there was one that was gray and purple.
Gray and purple. Anybody have any ideas here?
I'm thinking maybe a gallinule. Could be an escaped gallinule.
Could be maybe a rock sandpiper. They tend to have a purplish hue on some of their scapulars.
Certainly isn't a leucistic penguin, I'll tell you that.
Does sort of give you enough, Zoe?
It was eating garbage.
Does that give you enough?
Yeah, that's good enough. Thank you.
Okay, great. Well, sounds like we all learned a lot from that, and I really do appreciate Zoe taking the time to be on the show. I know that we're supposed to be spending a little more time together. That's kind of why you and your family have come over here from Georgia to hang, and hopefully you were able to do some of that while you were here, and I hope you enjoy your stay.
Thank you. Yeah, I hope we can just get some food or something soon.
Yeah, we'll probably eat after this.
Okay.
So, Martin, want to start us off with a little Mind of the Bird? I'm happy to hear about your latest Mind of a Bird.
Oh, absolutely, Zan. I'm really looking forward to kind of jumping into the mind of a chickadee.
Mind of a Chickadee is what you're doing?
This is the chickadee episode.
This is by request, you should say as well. I was asking you before the episode. I told you it's the Chickadee episode. Forget that. That's what. This is this is interesting. Mind of a Chickadee. Wow.
Look out ahead. We're entering the world of the chickadee. Chickadee! Chickadee! A almost universally considered huge, thanks to its oversized round head, tiny body, curiosity about nearly everything, including humans. The chickadee's black cap and band, white cheeks, gray bad wings, tail, and whitish underside with buffy sides are distinctive. Its habit of investigating people and everything else in its home territory, and quickness to discover bird feeders, making one of the first birds most people learn. Without further ado, I give you the chickadee.
Thank you all for tuning in to this exciting Chickadee episode, and this will be the exciting conclusion to that episode right now. We hope everyone out there has a great day, and just so you know, Avian Paragraph has been brought to you by Zan Marsh. It's a Zan Marsh production with Timothy Lequi and as well as Martin Salinas. Zan Marsh is written, produced, and created by Avian Paragraph. I meant the reverse of that, but flip that around and that'll be okay. And we have special music sequences by Tim Kahn, Fish Funk, Caden Amby, Magnus Waker, Kevin McLeod, Martian Footsie, Mr. Dre, Double Mattress, and Texas Music Forge, as well as many other contributors to this great podcast, radio show, or whatever you'd like to call it. And even though and may everyone out there have a very birdie day, and as my acquaintance Martin Salinas would say, get out there and go bird.